Yes, okay, I'm ready.
And at the very end of that line, we are discussing the principle that due to the cow, there is malo or mato. There are clear distinctions, subdivisions in the oil as it's coming down. This is not that just the different madrigas. They actually separate. It's chalkim. They separate one from the other. They don't intermingle that easily. Like we say, the head has its own abode, the hands have their function, the feet have their function. Quite distinct.
Is that, you want to play more? That's what
Well, if you are walking, you're not going to say, the head should also crawl up.
Which line is he referring to?
It has to be.
this amak, it says, this one starts here.
Me'ak?
Yeah. This is from Sunday Shir.
Oh, Sunday Shir.
So, what's this separation? Is this separation being referred to as is it spheres or is it the points on the cow? And this is due, I presume, to the lessening of the ore. But I want particularly to know if it's referring to the spheres or every point they don't mix one with the other. What was the what was being explained to us?
Is your question whether at every point of the calf there's a difference?
Yes, it's like I sense that the point before and the point after are quite distinct, and they don't mix. Was the language you used?
That's true. Multi-pointed line, each point is an entity unto itself, although it is in a straight line and they interrelate. And thus, as a result of this, it is able to identify different levels and assign to each level different relationship quality. Ultimately, the significance of all relationship is to what extent it's related to the Ein Sof, to Ein Sof. And as it descends down the multi-pointed line, its connection, its a reflection of the Ein Sof lessens. And that's where it becomes a matter.
But the points are related to Ein Sof, or they're also related to each other. It would seem that they're related to each other, but I want to understand it more clearly.
They're related to each other, and through each other related to the Ein Sof.
And as they don't have a direct relation to the Ein Sof, they relate to the Ein Sof through the point above it?
They do have a direct relationship because they know where they're coming from. Okay, now that you've asked the question I asked you, I'll give you the answer. You're barking up the wrong tree.
You what?
I'm barking up the wrong tree. Okay.
Let me explain to you a big principle. I'd like we should. I repeated it many times. The REBBE created the world, Shamayim and Oretz. And Shamayim was created first, before Oretz. If you read the Chumash, it says, Beis Elokim was Shamayim was Oretz. And then it goes on to talk about Oretz, nothing about Shamayim. So what is Shamayim mentioned for? The rest of the Chumash talks about Oretz. And the answer is that the creation is such that in the Oretz you should recognize the Shamayim quality. What's the difference between Oretz and Shamayim? So today we have a very simple world level understanding of this. In Oretz, if you want to go from point A to point B, you have to negotiate every step. And if there's a valley, you have to relate to the valley. If there's a hill, you have to relate to the hill. If there's a turn, you have to follow the turn. You can't just go from point A to point B. There's no relationship there. You have to respect the contours of the earth. And every step of the earth is an obstacle. You have to relate and negotiate that. Shamayim is a direct connect, direct unity, and it unites the entire world. This is what Baal Shem Too says. Mokim sheritzoyne shel Adam shomhu. That's Lashon of Baal Shem Too. The place where the person's will is, that's where he is. How is he there? He is over here. Because on the Rotzen level, on the Shamayim level, he is where he wants to, where he has to be. You understand the Kav, you want to understand how godliness and Lakus comes to the world. We're not interested in how the world comes, we understand how Lakus comes to the world. The Kav brings the Lakus to the world, except that it brings the Lakus in a measured manner, so that the world will be able to accept it. And you can hear me? What's the hint? Okay.
Yes, I can hear.
So whose hand is that? Whose hand do I see over there? Not mine. I thought it was kind of Rebbe's with his hand. Okay, now everything is okay. Fine. So we learn the Kav, and the Rebbe explains the Kav is multi-pointed and it goes down, and as a result of the Kav, there's measured. All the levels are measured according to their level. And one is different, the other is distinct from the other, you say, and different, they are separate. Despite that, it still carries the original message. What is the Kav about? It is to bring yourself into the world.
Okay. You said they don't mix. You can explain that? Here's a sequence of points, and you make a statement they don't mix.
They don't mix. Chochmah is Chochmah, Bina is Bina.
Is that those spheres in a Kav has spheres within it, correct?
Yeah. One second, what's wrong with this?
There's nothing wrong with it. It just
So what's missing?
It needs up. It needs to explain. Are we saying that the spheres within the Kav don't mix, or each point?
And how is that going to help you to understand the Kav?
I want to sense what's going on here. You made a strong statement. They don't mix.
They don't mix. What is the point of don't mix?
Yes.
Is to that there is a distinct identity, and thus Thus, that can create different levels. If they mix, there would be no levels. There's no levels in the sky.
Yes, we had it before the Kav, they mix.
That's right. All the time, it's only a circle. Everything comes together. Just as you as a human being, you contain only feet or hands or head, or you contain everything together. And everything is coordinated. The minute you think of moving your foot, you don't have to connect to the foot and command it. It moves. It's part of the whole reality. That's how it is in that level. But when it comes to actual movement, the foot has to move and leave the head behind. And the head has to know it doesn't belong there. Let the foot walk. You follow the
yes.
analogy? The difficulty that we have, being an advocate for your approach, the difficulty we have is because we are used to understanding things on the worldly level. So therefore we have a godly principle. We try, understanding means understanding, translated on the world level. And what we are being taught, what the aim over here is, no, we should rise up and understand things from a godly perspective. This morning, I woke up this morning, on my phone was a question from England. To the guy that I'm communicating with me. What is the Jewish relationship to the world? This is a pertinent question in our discussion. So I answered him very briefly. The Jewish relation, the Jewish people represent God in the world, godliness. And our relationship to the world is to alert the world that there is a godly presence in the world. And that the world has a godly quality to it. And it is incumbent upon them to recognize it and to live up to the godly quality that's embedded in the world. So it was not important. I had this just this morning, as I was having my coffee, I responded to it. So it's something which you have to reflect on. This is something you have to reflect on and work on, because this is counter to what we're being trained to, what we are used to thinking. To ask clarity, how do you go from here to 770? It has 500 feet, and you have to make this turn. That's on the low world. That's not how we think. We don't even think this way. We go straight there. Air miles. That's how we think of space in the world. When you think from going from here to 770, you think how many turns you're going to have to take? Or you go straight there. Right? All right, let's continue. So where are we? We're already in the last section, right? In the conclusion of the matter.
We started Pei Gimel already.
What?
We started Pei
Gimel,
Gimel.
yeah, of course. Let's start on the top of Pei Gimel, top line. The Zeho, we're talking about Yaakov and Yosef. Zeho HaHefresh ben Shachris and Musaf. This is the difference between Shachris and Musaf. Musaf means add-on. Shachris is the natural place in relationship. The Tefillah Shachris, who Yichud Yaakov Roch. Tefillah Shachris represent Yaakov and Roch. Yaakov is oh, you didn't explain it, okay. Yaakov and Roch. Tefillah Musaf, who Yichud Yisrael Roch. Rochel, before we go on, Rochel represents Malchus, Knesset Israel. Rochel receives its haspor from Yaakov and Israel. And it has these two different levels, Yaakov and Israel. The Yaakov who Loshen Bikiyo. The word Yaakov is alluding to the root word of Bikiyo. Bikiyo means breakthrough. K'moi, as we find in the Pasuk, Oz Yiboka Kashachar. Then Yiboka will break through Kashachar like the morning star. When you say when it breaks through, when the shachar, when the daylight breaks through the night, this is Rag Sheini Rag Ha'ora Labat. It is not more than just a Ha'ora. The Ha'ora is like a reflection. The Ha'ora is like an allusion to the real thing. But the real thing has not yet surfaced. It's called the Ha'or. Yisrael, who bechinas atzmis. Yisrael is the bechina of atzmis, bechina atzmis, the two essential realities. The term Ha'or and atzmis is rampant everywhere that you learn. And it behooves us from time to stop and reflect what these terms really imply. And as I've mentioned many times, if you want to understand Atzmi from a worldly perspective, we're going to fail from get-go. In the world, there's nothing that's Atzmi. There's nothing in the world that is not a composite. That's what a composite is. You think of a table as a table. It's not a table. It's a bunch of little pieces of wood glued together. Atzmi is exclusively in the divine realm. I should give you a motion from the human experience about Atzmi, which doesn't exist, but just projected. Let us say you conceptualize a table. How you would like a dining room table to be. And you conceptualize realistically. That's the dining room table belongs there. That's the way it should be. And then, of course, You want to have the table per mamash. In order to get the per mamash, you go out from your conception and projection, and you start designing it how it would fit into in the physical world. And you call a carpenter and so forth. Imagine that you can create the table straight from your thought. Imagine the table is created straight from your thought. It does not have to translate in individual pieces of wood, glued together and designed and so on. Because the way it is in your mind, that's how it appears. This is kind of an allusion to an atzmi. It represents the truth of what you are thinking of. It's not a ha'ora. It's a reality itself. This is why I say it does not exist in the world, from worldly perspective. God creates everything directly. In the beginning, God created Shomayim and Oretz. What He created? Everything that's Shomayim and everything that's Oretz. Everything that fits into the definition of the word Shomayim is there. Everything that fits into the definition of Oretz is there. Because God creates in a completely different way. Because from top down is not even a correct statement. Transcends top down. Okay. Yaakov and Israel. Yaakov is the yin of Bikia. Is a ha'ora. Is not atzmi solitus. Is a ha'ora. That's why it's called Yaakov. Yaakov means it breaks through. When is the term breaking through applied? When there could be an obstruction. That means you can obstruct. You say, okay, it can break through a little spark here in front, a little light there. Something that's an atzmi cannot be obstructed. The Yisrael who bechinas atzmis. Yisrael, this is atzmis. This is bechinas atzmis. This is Elokus itself. U'shneihem hein bechinas chochma. Both of these are the bechin of chochma. Bechinas Yisoid Abba. Let me explain how is chochma all of a sudden come into here. Chochma, as we know, is one of the qualities of intelligence. Intelligence is already outside of the nefesh. It's not rotzen and noinig. It's something which you know externally. Knowing externally at different levels. The topmost level is chochma. And what is the difference between this topmost level and all that follows afterwards? Chochma has this very unique quality, as we speak many times, that it does not require I should know it. Whatever you show me, that's what I get. That's why Chochma is called bittul. It does not try to interpret in its own meaning, in its own level, in a worldly fashion. As long as I can grasp it in a worldly fashion, I don't know it. It's not true. Whatever you show me, I know. That's the quality of Chochma. So in Chochma, we can know the sky, we can know the earth, we have no idea what it is. What's the sky made of? I don't care. It's real. That's Chochma. both Yaakov and Israel, Idin HaChochma, which means that they are able to perceive the of Ein Sof into the world, in Seichel. But in Seichel itself, it does not translate in Seichel. It remains the way it's being presented. That's what's called Chochma. In Chochma itself, there are two madrigas. There is the Ha'orat HaChochma and the Etzem HaChochma. Ha'orat HaChochma means how the Chochma then is translated into being. Okay, this is what you. Okay, so what does it mean? That's already not Chochma. That's a Ha'orat HaChochma. The way Chochma is unto itself, that's Etzem HaChochma. Yaakov who begins Ha'orat HaChochma, Yisrael begins Atzmis HaChochma. Atzmis HaChochma means how Chochma takes the union of Ein Sof in itself, not by intent to producing and translating it into Bina, but for itself. וכמשקול שבליקוטי תורה והאריזה, הפוסק, and it says in Likutei Torah והאריזה, al posuk, commenting on the posuk, Vayokim Eidus b'Yankei v'Seira Som b'Yisrael. Translate, Vayokim Eidus b'Yankei, he established Eidus, testimony, b'Yankei in Yankei. Torah and Torah Som, in Torah he established b'Yisrael in Yisrael. Yaakov and Israel is one and the same person, one and the same nation, with the different levels. One can only relate to Eidus, and one relates to Torah. What's the difference? The Yaakov will begin to say this about. Yaakov is the beginning of Eidus testimony. What is testimony? Eidus represents a proof. If two witnesses come and say, we saw this and this happen, and we accept their testimony, and we can follow through practically on their testimony, they're only telling us about it. They don't give us the reality itself. We don't really experience that which they saw, but we base our activity on that basis. That's called Eidus. Yisrael beginning Atzmas Hador. So this is the beginning of Atzmas Hador. This is the way it is in essence. V'hu inyan Eirus u'Nesuyi. And this is also the same inyan as Eirus and Nesuyi. Eirusin means betrothed.
Betrothal.
Huh?
Betrothal?
Betrothal. Yeah.
Betrothal.
Yeah, when it becomes a chos or a kala. Apidin Torah, Eirusin is actually when he gives her this ring. We have the ring, Eirusin under the chuppah. But in the way the Torah speaks of Eirusin is, he gives her the ring, it's Mekadesh and Yisha, way before he marries her. At that point, she's already betrothed. She's bound to him. And she cannot have any relation to any other man. She's bound to him not only by commitment, but by law. If Chas v'Shalom there's any deviation of that, it's a very, very serious violation. Nisuin is marriage. What happens at Nisuin? Nisuin, this commitment is finalized, so to speak. It's brought to a reality, actualized. The Eirusin hu inyan nevus chochma shel Torah. Eres is the Yom that says Nevlis Chochma. Nevlis means the fallout, the effect of Chochma Shalamayla. Is Torah. Torah is the Nevlis Chochma Shalamayla. On Nisuyin is the next level. Hamshocha Atzmis. It's an essential Hamshocha of the Etzem. Mebechinas Atzmas HaChochma, that comes from the Etzem HaChochma, which is not just a reflection or a translation or representation, but the way the Yin is unto itself. V'hu Yinyan, which is also the Yinyan of Chitzenis HaTeira or Pnimis HaTeira. Chitzenis HaTeira is what's called the other Niglis. Chitzenis HaTeira is how Torah affects the world. Pnimis HaTeira is how Torah is unto itself. The Chitzenis HaTeira and Chitzenis HaChochma. This is Chitzenis HaTeira comes and represents Chitzenis HaChochma. And Chitzenis means Chitzenis HaChochma means that which our Chochma affects further. The B'derech Klal, in general, Hareze Ha'ora Lavat. If we should, there are many different madrigas and different insights and depths in Chitzenis HaChochma, but overall, this is Ha'ora Lavat. Ha'ora means it is only the effect of its presence, not the real thing. Loi ho'etz mamash. Pnimis HaTeira, on the other hand, Pnimis HaTeira, he Pnimis v'atzmus HaChochma. This is the internal and atzmus HaChochma, the essence of Chochma. Again, as I said, the reason that there is such thing as atzmus HaChochma is because it's created by God. This is not something that a human being can possibly develop on its own. To put it very, very poignantly, directly, the reason that the world appears to you, seems to you as a real thing, and you say it's very real, is because you have Etzem HaChochma. Not because this is not because how you understand the world. There is a deeper quality in you called Etzem HaChochma. It recognizes the world as a reality. From this, he can draw and affect other qualities.